Hey guys, welcome to the fifth of a series of 10 basic lessons brought to you by theguitarlesson.com. My name is Tom Fontana, and today we'll be learning some very important things that you'll need to play the guitar well. The notes on the fretboard, and we'll be learning how to tune your guitar. Now, it's really important that you learn each note on the fretboard, and don't get scared. I know there are a lot, but I'll show you a couple of easy ways to remember which note is where, okay? So, first of all, let's just look at the fretboard and pluck the low E string. Then move up to fret 12. And this is E again, only one octave higher. And this is the same for all strings. So if we plug the open E string, we get the E note, and fret 12 is E as well. Open A string, fret 12 is A. Open D, fret 12 is D. G string, fret 12 is G. Open B, fret 12 is B. And the high E, and fret 12 is high E. So whatever fret you're at, 12 frets up will mean that you moved up an octave, which is an interval between one musical pitch and another with double or half the frequency. And that's the standard definition. But just remember that an octave, it's made up of 12 notes, and the last note in the octave is the same as the first note, only with double the frequency if you're going up, or half if you go down, okay? So check it out on the screen. We'll demonstrate the concept on the low E string. So the open E string is E, fret 1 is F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E again, exactly one octave higher. And this is the same for all strings and all frets. Let's just see that on the A string as well. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and back to A. So you have 12 semitones and 8 whole notes in an octave, and the reason it's called an octave is exactly because of the 8 whole notes. And you see, oct, it actually means 8 in Latin, hence the word octave. And I want to show you something neat and really useful now, the relation between your strings in standard tuning, okay? So I just want you to hold down fret 5 on the low E string, pluck it, then pluck the A string beneath it. They're the same note. That is if your guitar is in tune, of course, they'll be the same note. And this relation is true for strings E and A and D, D and G. Not true for G and B though, but true again for B and E. Now, G and B, they're 4 frets apart. You'll just have to remember that, okay? So keep that in mind. And the good thing is that you can use these string relations for tuning your guitar as well. So if you get the E string into tune, you'll have your relative pitch, and you can tune all the other strings based on what we just discussed, so the string relations. So let's say my E string is in tune, but I put my A string out of tune. I can retune string A, just a bit more. Yes, you see? So this is true for string A and D, D and G. But 1 fret lower for G and B, and just make sure you remember this. And fret 5 again for B and E. Okay, so let's just move on and let's just look at all the notes on the fretboard, okay? As I said, I'll teach you an easier way of memorizing all the notes on the fretboard. And you have to start it by learning and memorizing the notes on the low E string and the A string by heart. And unfortunately, there's no way around it, so you'll just have to memorize them, study it and memorize it. That's the way it is. But you know, once you do know the notes on the low E string, you'll also know the notes on the high E string, since they're the same as on the low E string. And when you know the notes on the E and A strings, it'll be really easy to tell the other notes on the other strings as well. And that's because, just remember back to to what we just had, that most strings are 5 frets apart, right? With the exception of the G and B. And now let's just use that theory and try to guess where we have the same note on string E and D, okay? 1 octave higher, of course. So we know that there are 12 semitones to an octave. We'll have to move 12 semitones, or 12 frets up, to get the same note 1 octave higher. This means that, for example, the open E string is E, as we know. And if we move up 12 frets, changing to the higher string whenever we can, so instead of string E fret 5, which is an A, we move to string A. And then 5 frets up, instead of string A, fret 5, we move to string D. So that's 10 frets right there. And for now, and string fret 11 and fret 12. And string D, fret 2, will be an octave higher than our starting E. Just listen to it. You see? So it's the same note. Obviously, there's a bit of a difference in the tone of the strings, but you know, it's the same note. So 2 strings down and 2 frets higher will be the same note, only 1 octave higher. And because you memorize the notes on string E and A already, okay, not already, but you will, you'll be able to count the notes 2 strings lower, respectively, okay? So the notes on strings D and G. Now string B is a bit different. You'll need to count 13 frets from string D to B. So let's say you're plucking a D string. That's a D note. And you'll need to go down by 2 strings to string B and 3 frets over. So that's 13 frets altogether. And you have the same note. See? 1 octave higher, of course. And it would be the same if you would want to use this method to count the notes from string G to string E. But you won't want to, since you already memorized all the notes on the low E string. And as you know, all the notes on the high E string are exactly the same as the notes on the low E string, okay? Okay, so I hope that was all clear. It seems a bit complicated at first, but it really isn't if you know the relationship between the strings, just as I told you, okay? Now, let's get back to tuning your guitar. And really, if you want to save yourself a lot of time and effort, I suggest that you buy an electric tuner. It just saves you so much time and energy. So this is an average tuner. I hooked it up to my guitar directly, so you won't be able to hear. But if I plug the open E, the red light on the top left tells me that it's out of tune, a bit flat. So I just turn my tuning peg until I get the green light. So it should be in tune now. Now A. Wow, I'm real out of tune there. I'll just turn my peg. Almost there. And there's the green go-ahead, okay? So as you can see, it's really easy to tune your guitar with a little device like this. And you will be needing it to tune your guitar semi-often because unfortunately, they just don't stay in tune. The wood here is affected by air humidity. If you have steel strings, then they're affected by temperature. You may just knock it against the wall or something, and they'll put it out of tune. So there are a lot of things which will put your guitar out of tune. So I suggest that you buy a tuner. It'll cost you about $20, which is about 15 euros at yesterday's exchange rate. But it'll save you a bunch of time, okay? Now, if you don't get a tuner, you'll have to use the techniques that we learned in the beginning of the lesson. And as you know, that's okay as well. You'll find an electric semi-tuner on our website. That's theguitarlesson.com. You'll hear the correct pitch of each string, and you can tune your guitar by ear. That's totally okay as well. Just the electric guitar tuner makes it a bit easier. Okay. And I think that's actually everything I wanted to cover in this lesson. I hope you're practicing all the techniques that we've been learning in the previous lessons, because in the next lesson will be that will be lesson 6, and we'll be learning the finger picking techniques. It's a lot of fun, and it'll just show you so many new aspects of the guitar that you haven't seen before. I'm sure you'll find it a lot of fun, so go ahead and download it from theguitarlesson.com if you haven't already, okay? And that's it for today. I'll see you the next time. Bye.